The 1986 Ljoma Rally, Iceland's major motorsport event, and in its 7th year, the island's top driver, Jon Ragnarsson, is hoping for success.
I know it will be hard fighting, and I hope I will drive very fast as I can, but I don't know what it is, what I can hold the first place.
You did very well last year.
Yeah, because I have no problem, you know. If I have no problem now, I know I will stay in one to third place somewhere.
Will it be easier this year, do you think, because the Finns are not here?
No, I think not. Not for me, not for the Icelandic driver, because I think it will be more fighting.
Only one overseas entry this year, Scotsman Phil Walker, who's made the long trip with his Ford Escort RS.
We've been planning this since about April this year, and we've forgone the opportunity to compete on other rallies in the meantime.
How big an operation has it been to get here?
Well, the logistics have been incredible with ferries and air traffic and the location and purchasing of parts, all that sort of thing. It's amazing how much effort's in it.
Why do you actually make the effort, though? Because it is a major exercise, isn't it?
I often wonder, you know. I suppose it's for fun at the end of the day. We're not professionals, we're only clubmen, but it's a great adventure and the thrill of doing something a little different.
How different is it from the rallies you normally do?
Well, Scottish events tend to be shorter, of course. This is a 4-day effort, and even the Scottish International has roughly 50% of the stage mileage available here. So it's different from that point of view, and there are rivers and glaciers and geysers.
The rally has a unique style, allowing guest co-drivers on the first spectator stage in Reykjavik, like newspaper reporter Helga Johnson.
I'm the co-driver, but I'm just doing this for fun.
And you're looking forward to it?
Sure, try something new.
What about navigation and things? Do you know where you're going?
I think he does. I don't think he needs my navigation.
The event is sponsored by dairy products manufacturer Ljoma, who are backing the event in a 3-year deal. So company manager David Skeving Thorstensen took his involvement to a more personal level for a high-speed spin round the 2-kilometre stage. Jon Ragnarsson was running the same Escort RS that gave him success in 1985, but his luck wasn't to hold this year. He is leading the Icelandic Championship, but on the Ljoma, the engine blew on just the 3rd stage, leading to an early retirement. That gave hope to Thorhallar Kristjansson in the Talbot Lotus, Iceland's champion in 1985. He's chasing behind Ragnarsson in this year's championship, and a win in the Ljoma would cut the difference to just 3 points. A trouble-free drive on the first night left him in 2nd place. That was just 18 seconds ahead of Herstein Adelstinsson in another Escort RS, back in rallying again after a break of 3 years. He was hoping for a better result than in his last international in Wales earlier in the year when a half-shaft broke. Phil Walker's no stranger to Iceland. This is his 3rd attempt at the rally, but he wanted to do better than the previous occasions when he retired with mechanical failure. After the first night, he was 6th. Last year's clerk of the course, Steingrim Ringason, who's also manager of the organising car club, gave up his desk to sit behind the steering wheel of his Nissan, which was completed in time for the rally only hours before the start. The big man of Icelandic rallying is Eiríkur Fridriksson, hamburger chef when he's not competing and one of the country's most popular drivers. Again, he had to make last-minute alterations to his 160 horsepower Escort in time for the start. But despite the lack of power, he managed to keep up the pace in the early stages. An old car rebuilt provides the transport for Eva Hjartarson in the Skoda. The surprise of the first night was the performance of Hjörleifur Hilmarsson in the Toyota Corolla, but a lightweight car which helped him to 1st place, leading by 2 seconds. Thorfaldr Jensen retired in an earlier event when water instead of petrol was put in the tank, and the Ljoma continued the trend, retiring on the first night in his Opel Kadett. Better luck for the other Opel Kadett of Daniel Gunnarsson. Earlier problems with the car had been overcome, and he made it through the first night to return to Reykjavik in a steady position for the challenge of the weekend stages. Friday morning and the rally moves northeast from the capital into the national park, and where the country's first parliament sat, distinctly 20th century machinery takes over. But in the case of Car 10, the Toyota of Hilmerson, all is not well, the fan belt jumping off early on in the stage. He loses a minute and a half and is overtaken by the following car, the Escort of Adelstonsen. Phil Walker's trying to keep up the pace, but admits that although he feels he's pushing as hard as he can, he just can't match the times of the Icelanders. Steingrimur Ingerson's Datsun is going well in spite of the fact that just 4 days before it was an empty shell waiting for engine and gearbox. But while he's enjoying the event and the car is running better than hoped, everything is almost lost 5 kilometres from the end of the stage when he misjudges a bend, hits a bank and snaps a steering arm. The crew jump out to assess the damage and put up triangles to warn oncoming competitors of the car partly blocking the stage. Phil Walker slows to get round the obstacle and tries to regain lost time. Hjartarson's Skoda is still going, but dropping down the field. Fredriksson in the Escort stays to the front but feels he's underpowered, trying to keep up with the other, more powerful Escorts. In the BMW Turbo, Gudny Arnason seems to have overcome problems with the car in the past, helped largely by some homemade turbo modifications which have even interested the car makers in Germany. The The Opel Kadett of Gunnarsson is running well and manages to stay up with the bigger cars. Fredrik Sigurbergsson is a doctor when he's not behind the wheel of his BMW 2002, which performed well early on and needed no attention or nursed through the stages. The most flamboyant entry was that of Thorsten Ingesson, brother of Steingrimur in car 7 and one of Iceland's 3 B-seeded international drivers. He'd forsaken his Toyota for an 80 horsepower Lada Sport 4-wheel drive. One of the 2 Lada saloons was driven by Bragi Gudmundsson, but the 70 horsepower machine didn't last too long, retiring on the Friday afternoon stages. The other Lada in the hands of Olafur Baldvinsson lasted longer until the following afternoon, but dropped out in the middle of the 40-kilometre Domodulur stage. Making its first appearance in a rally, the new front-wheel drive Lada Samara in the hands of the only woman competitor Helga Johansdottir. The lowest powered car in the event with only 65 horsepower, it's a complete road-prepared car. The only alterations for the rally were the installation of a roll cage. Lunch halt on Friday and a chance for the service crews to repair the damage of the morning stages, and for Steingrimur to replace the steering arm on the Nissan.
Well, the radiator went, I did not have any water, so I finished this probably 5 miles without any water, and I hope the engine didn't damage from that. And I think I will get a radiator and can keep going.
So you actually burst the radiator?
Yes,
And
cut the steering arm. And I didn't know at first I had a steering arm in the car. So as you noticed, I just thought I was out and finished.
So how much time have you lost? Any idea?
Probably 10 minutes or so.
But other crews were having more luck. As refuelling took place, Hafstein Adelsteinsson relished the prospect of taking the lead.
Yeah, everything is going very well.
So you're confident that you're...
Yes, we are happy. We just take it a little bit easy, but we are driving fast, but carefully. But I think it's going good.
Meanwhile, in car 2, co-driver Gunnlaugur Ronvaldsson reflected on a series of electrical problems in the Lotus.
At first it was going well. We overtook the car which was in the lead, but then we had problems with the ignition coil, and the car went very slowly. We lost 1 minute on the first stage, and on the second stage we started, managed 100 meters, and then the fuel pump failed. We thought it was the ignition coil again, went out of the car, and tried to fix things with the ignition. It went inside again, tried the fuel pump, and then we continued.
So how much time have you lost then?
About 3 minutes.
But what position are you in now then?
Third place now.
So the lead in the afternoon stages is maintained by the Toyota, but on the second stage he drops to 10th place when he lost more than 10 minutes after hitting a rock and breaking a steering arm. The lead is taken by a jubilant Hafstein Adelsteinsson in the Escort. But Philip Walker still cannot catch the leaders, and as he tries to increase his speed, he runs into problems. The Talbot Lotus of Christiansen now moves into second place behind the leading Escort and taking best times on the 2 long stages. The BMW Turbo of Arneson is running well, and it confidently moves into 6th place by the end of the second day. In 9th place is the ladder sport of Thorsten Ingerson, leading the trio of production cars. But experiencing problems in keeping his Opel Manta together, Thorgeir Kjartansson retires early the following day. Great problems too for Phil Walker, his service crew battling to change an axle before being beaten by the clock.
Flying along at about 110 at one part, and then just a terrible mechanical noise. And we thought it was a half shaft. We stopped and removed both half shafts. They appeared to be perfect. I put them back in, started to drive again, and there was no traction, no take-up. So there must be something broken inside the differential or the limited slip. We have a spare axle. We may manage to make it before time runs out.
Saturday morning, and the weather and the driving conditions have suddenly deteriorated as the cars tackle the worst of the rally, the notorious mountain stages in the southern central region of the island. At the lunch halt, the drivers dry out and work out tactics for the return journey over the swollen rivers and snow-swept tracks.
Started this morning and decided to go carefully on the first stage and second stage, not to get punctures, because there was only 1 minute and 20 seconds to first place, and we were expecting maybe problems from Hafstein, who was leading. And on the third stage, we caught up with Hafstein. He had problems because of water on the sparks, and I think we took about 5-6 minutes off him on stage 3. So we're probably leading by 4 minutes, but they haven't given us their time, so we don't know exactly.
At the head of the field, things are not well for Hafstein, who's worried about the return journey.
It was quite good on the first 2 stages, but the last Fjallabak was terrible for us, because when we came into the river, then we lost all our power, and we have to drive over those stages and the river only on 2 cylinders, and just could make the state, and I think we have lost about 5-6 minutes.
On the way back to Reykjavik through the Fetlabak stage, the Talbot gains 4 minutes over the Escort, in spite of hitting a rock and twisting the steering arm, and going off into rocks for 100 metres, costing more time. But the lead was theirs, and it was a straightforward drive back to the capital for 2 short stages on the Sunday morning before the finish back in Reykjavik. Second place then went to Hafstein in the Escort, taking it cautiously so as not to repeat the problems of the outward journey. The Toyota had fought back to third place, but even then lost time by stopping twice on the river crossings after water got into the electrics. Nursing his car back to the evening halt and to set himself up for a fourth place, Eriker Fredriksson, battling to keep the gap between himself and the Toyota to no more than 35 minutes. Fifth was Daniel Gunnarsson in the cadet, more than an hour behind the winner, but thankful for a finish after a series of mechanical problems. And in 8th place, behind the Colt-Lancer of Ausgeir Sigurdsson, the ladder sport of Thorsten Ingerson. And so the end of the 1986 Ljoma Rally. Less of an international event than last year, but providing good prospects for 1987, when it's hoped that more competitors will make the trip north for what is steadily gaining in international rallying respect.